There are places on Earth where the internet, phones, or money are almost useless. The Amazon is one of them. This is a place where people can disappear just by drinking the wrong water or taking one wrong step. But even in such a terrifying place, there are still tribes that have survived for hundreds of years without the modern world. The question is, how have they survived? Join me as we explore 5 isolated tribes in the Amazon in this video. The Amazon is not like the forests most of you have seen in travel documentaries. It is the largest ecosystem in the world, stretching across 9 South American countries with an area of more than 5.5 million kilometers. The amount of water the Amazon River pours into the ocean alone is greater than the combined flow of 7 major rivers together. But what makes this place terrifying is not its size. It is the fact that the Amazon can exhaust a healthy person very quickly while leaving almost no trace behind. High temperatures, humidity constantly above 80%, disease-carrying insects, parasites, venomous snakes, dangerous fish, and flooded regions stretching for hundreds of kilometers make it nearly impossible for most modern people to survive long if left alone in the jungle. Just finding clean water or starting a fire during non-stop rain is already an extremely difficult challenge. But within that forest, there are still tribes that have lived for thousands of years while barely depending on the outside world. One of the most famous communities is the Yanomami people. They live in the forest region between southern Venezuela and northern Brazil. Their current population is more than 35,000 people, and they are considered one of the largest remaining indigenous groups in the Amazon. The Yanomami tribe does not live separately, they live communally. Instead of each family living on its own, the entire community lives inside a massive circular structure called a shabono. The roof is built from wood and palm leaves, and in the center is a large open area used for communal activities, rituals, and tribal meetings. To outsiders, dozens of families living together would create many problems. But for the Yanomami, that is the most effective way to survive in the Amazon. In an environment where predators, disease, and tribal conflicts once happened frequently, the community itself became the strongest layer of defense. The Yanomami depend almost entirely on nature. They grow bananas, cassava, and corn while also hunting and fishing to sustain their lives. Because they have lived in the forest for hundreds of years, the Yanomami can distinguish hundreds of different plant species, knowing which plants can be used as medicine, which are poisonous, and during which seasons animals appear the most. To them, the forest is not just a place to find food, but a complete living system with its own spirit and rules. This is especially important because the Amazon is home to many extremely dangerous creatures. For those who have been to the Amazon rainforest, the green anaconda is no stranger, the heaviest snake in the world. An adult can grow longer than 6 meters and weigh over 120 kilograms. It has no venom, but it possesses terrifying constricting power. When attacking, it wraps around its prey and tightens harder after every breath the prey exhales until the heart stops beating. The rivers where the Yanomami live are also home to giant pirarucu fish, freshwater fish that can grow longer than 2 meters and weigh more than 100 kilograms. However, the interesting thing is that the Yanomami do not confront nature with strength. They survive through observation. Before entering the river, they pay attention to the color of the water, the sounds of birds, and even unusual changes in the forest. In their culture, silence can sometimes be more frightening than loud noise. If insects suddenly disappear or birds stop singing, it could be a sign that a predator is nearby. What do you think is more terrifying? Surviving in the Amazon for 7 days or turning off your phone and internet for exactly 7 days? Leave a comment below and let me know. If the Yanomami make people fearful because of the giant snakes beneath the water, then deeper in the southern Amazon there exists another community famous not for escaping the jungle, but for fighting to protect it. They are the Kayapo people. The Kayapo mainly live in the state of Pará, in the southern Brazilian Amazon. Their territory stretches across millions of hectares of rainforest and is considered one of the most untouched regions of the Amazon today. Much of this forest has survived thanks to the tribe's own protection. Researchers have found that the Kayapo territory has a significantly lower deforestation rate compared to many surrounding areas. Kayapo villages are usually built in a circular shape with a large open area in the center. This is where all important community activities take place, from rituals and meetings to decisions related to war or hunting. For them, life does not revolve around individuals, but around the strength of the entire community. The Kayapo are considered true biological researchers because they possess deep knowledge of insects in the Amazon rainforest. They can use certain species of ants with extremely painful bites as part of rituals that help young men train their pain tolerance and courage before becoming true warriors. To outsiders this may seem extreme, but for the Kayapo, it is a way to prepare mentally for survival in an environment where weakness can sometimes cost a person their life. The Kayapo are also famous for their incredibly accurate ability to read the forest. They can identify areas where predators are present just by footprints or very small sounds. Children are taught to swim, paddle canoes, and use bows and arrows from a very young age. The territory of the Kayapo is also home to some of the most dangerous creatures in the Amazon. However, today, the thing that worries the Kayapo most is no longer predatory animals. The real threat now comes from chainsaws, illegal logging, and economic projects that are pushing deeper and deeper into the Amazon. What is important to note is that the Kayapo are not completely isolated from the modern world. In many villages, people still use phones, engines, and even the internet. But they want to decide the limits of change for themselves, instead of allowing the outside world to impose it on their lives. If you think the previous two tribes were already mysterious, then the next tribe is so mysterious that it is called the ghosts of the Amazon rainforest. The deeper you go into eastern Amazon Brazil, the quieter and more unpredictable the forest becomes. This is also where the Awaguaha people live. They mainly live in the state of Maranhão, near the eastern edge of the Amazon, in dense forests with almost no clear paths. Today, the population of the Awaguaha is believed to be only a few hundred people, and some small groups among them still remain almost completely isolated from the modern world. What makes this tribe special is that even the Brazilian government sometimes cannot determine exactly where they are. The Awaguaha do not build large permanent villages like many other indigenous communities. They live as nomadic hunter-gatherers, constantly moving deep through the forest following food sources, hunting seasons, and environmental changes. This way of life makes them almost disappear within the Amazon, which stretches across millions of square kilometers. For many decades, the Awaguaha were known almost only through traces left behind in the forest. Ashes from old campfires, footprints on wet ground, cut branches, or the sound of arrows being fired before quickly disappearing into the deep jungle. Some groups are believed to deliberately avoid contact with outsiders because they witnessed disease and violence appearing after the modern world entered the Amazon. For a community with such a small population like the Awaguaha, even a normal flu outbreak could become a disaster. The Awaguaha depend almost entirely on hunting. They use bows nearly as tall as their bodies to hunt monkeys, birds, and wild pigs. But what surprised many researchers the most is the way they treat animals. If a mother monkey leaves behind a baby, Awaguaha women often bring it home and raise it like their own child. Would you dare to raise a monkey in your house? Comment number 1 if you would. Not every tribe in the Amazon lives deep in the jungle and far away from the rivers. For the Matses people, the rivers and smells are the center of life. Today, the Matses population is estimated to be only a few thousand people. Although they have had contact with the modern world, Many Matses communities still maintain their traditional way of life and depend heavily on hunting, fishing, and survival knowledge in the Amazon rainforest. An interesting thing is that in their language, when telling a story or giving information, the speaker often has to clearly state the source of what they are saying, whether they saw it with their own eyes, heard it from someone else, or guessed it from traces. For the Matses, false information in the jungle can sometimes put people in danger. The Matses are famous for their incredibly accurate hunting skills. They use long bows, handmade traps, and especially blowguns with darts coated in curare poison, a toxin extracted from Amazon plants that can paralyze the muscles of prey. What is astonishing is that after hunting animals with curare, the meat can still be eaten safely if prepared correctly. This poison was later even studied for the development of certain muscle relaxant medicines in modern medicine. But the lives of the Matses do not revolve only around hunting. They also possess astonishing knowledge of jungle medicine. Some Matses hunters have practiced rituals using poison from the cambo frog, applying it onto small burns on the skin before hunting trips. They believe this ritual helps the body stay more alert, increases endurance, and sharpens the senses in the deep jungle. Although many modern scientists still debate its true effectiveness, this ritual has existed in the Matses community for hundreds of years. The region where the Matses live is also home to many of the Amazon's most dangerous creatures. One of them is the Amazon electric eel. An adult can grow nearly 2 meters long and generate enough electricity to paralyze a human body underwater. The danger is not only the electric shock itself, but also the fact that victims can lose muscle control and drown in the river before they are able to react. Because of this, the Matses are extremely cautious when entering the water. They avoid muddy waters near submerged tree trunks or stagnant water areas during the dry season. In many cases, they even use sticks to stir the water before stepping in to check for hidden dangers below. And that is only one of the most mysterious tribes in this forest. If you want to continue exploring the incredible communities still living in the most dangerous place on Earth, subscribe to the channel right now. Because ahead are even more tribes with survival secrets and traditions that many modern people would find hard to believe are real.
There are areas in the Amazon rainforest that even the indigenous people living nearby rarely dare to venture deep into. Not because of predators, but because of the existence of mysterious tribes that are almost completely isolated from the rest of the world. From warriors wearing enormous lip plates to tribes that vanish like ghosts into the dense jungle, the Amazon is still hiding some of the most mysterious remaining communities of humanity. And one of them even led the Brazilian government to establish a restricted area for many years. Today, let's venture deep into that forest together and see how they are living. The Amazon, a rainforest stretching across 9 South American countries with an area of more than 5.5 million square kilometers, is so vast that people believe if you get lost there, your chances of survival are almost zero. From above, the Amazon looks like an endless green ocean covering nearly half of South America. But beneath that massive canopy lies a completely different world, where sunlight often cannot reach the ground. This rainforest is the territory of some of the most dangerous creatures on the planet. Jaguars weighing more than 100 kilograms can hide in the shadows just a few meters away from their prey. Piranhas with razor-sharp teeth appear densely throughout many branches of the Amazon River. High in the treetops, venomous spiders, giant boa snakes, and millions of insects live in a hot and humid environment almost year-round. The mosquitoes alone in the Amazon are enough to kill thousands of people every year because of malaria and tropical viruses. But the most astonishing thing is that within this rainforest called the Green Hell, there are still communities living almost completely isolated from the modern world. Some tribes in the Amazon have never even used electricity, never seen a city, and still survive with bows and arrows, hunting, and primitive skills that have existed for centuries. And in today's video, we are going to step into the real lives of the most mysterious tribes living deep inside the Amazon. To reach the tribes living deep within the Amazon, the journey usually begins from river cities in Brazil or Peru. If there is one tribe that has fascinated and haunted Western anthropologists for decades, it is the Yanomami. Living deep within the rainforests stretching between Brazil and Venezuela, this community remained almost completely isolated from the rest of the world for hundreds of years. To enter their territory, people must spend days traveling by canoe through narrow rivers covered in fog and insects. But what made the Yanomami famous is not their isolation, but one of the strangest funeral rituals in the Amazon. The Yanomami believe that people do not truly disappear after death. According to their beliefs, a soul can only be released when the body completely returns to nature and is sent to the afterlife by its own family. After someone dies, the tribe holds a ritual lasting many days amid singing, fire smoke, and ancient chants. The ashes of the dead are then ground into powder and mixed into food or drinks for family members. To the modern world, this sounds almost unbelievable, but to the Yanomami, this is the most sacred way for the spirits of their ancestors to continue living within their own community. Besides their mysterious rituals, the Yanomami are also known as extremely fierce warriors. The men of the tribe use bows nearly as tall as their bodies to hunt monkeys, large birds, and wild boars in the Amazon. They live in enormous communal houses called shabono, where dozens of families live together under a circular roof made from wood and palm leaves. However, the most frightening threat facing the Yanomami today is not wild animals or disease in the jungle, but the outside world. Illegal gold miners are gradually invading their territory, bringing many consequences with them. And perhaps within only a few more decades, one of the most primitive tribes on Earth may disappear forever into the Amazon. How many tribes do you think can still survive under the current situation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Deep within the Amazon rainforest exists a tribe that even illegal logging and gold mining companies are cautious of when entering their territory. It is the Kayapo, an indigenous tribe that has existed in the Amazon rainforest for more than 1,000 years. They are famous for their appearance resembling ancient warriors along with their lip plates. From a young age, Kayapo men are taught how to fight, hunt, and survive in the deep jungle. Their bodies are covered in black patterns dyed from charcoal and forest fruits. But the easiest way to recognize the Kayapo is by the wooden lip plates pierced through their lower lips. For the Kayapo, the size of a lip plate not only represents power, but also reflects the wisdom, experience, and voice of a man within the community. The larger the lip plate, the higher the status. Some elderly chiefs can wear lip plates wider than 10 centimeters. During tribal meetings, those with the largest lip plates are usually the ones listened to the most and have the authority to make important decisions related to hunting, war, or protecting the territory. The Kayapo live in large villages near the Amazon River, where children learn to swim almost before they can walk. They fish with spears, hunt animals with bows and arrows, and understand the rainforest to an astonishing degree. Just by observing the color of the water or changes in bird sounds, they can tell when a storm is coming or when dangerous animals are nearby. But what made the Kayapo famous around the world is not their survival skills, but their fight to protect the Amazon. For many years, this tribe has directly confronted corporations seeking to destroy the rainforest for timber and minerals. Images of Kayapo warriors with black and red painted faces holding spears while blocking machinery in the jungle once shocked international media.